Okay, so when I think about 10 years ago, I really actually need to jump back another 6 months basically, because my quantum awakening, my shift, my where everything was different overnight within the instantaneous moment of a second, that occurred on July 4th of 2016. But I was being guided before that. I was being given warning signs. I was being given intuitive knowings that I needed to change my path. But I wasn't listening because I was lost in the bottle. I was lost in the drugs. I was lost in the toxic patterns within my relationships. I was lost in the emotional, unprocessed realm of hell that I literally had created for myself. All because I was too scared to stand up for myself or speak my truth or have any type of self-respect for me at all within my relationships and the expectations that I held within those relationships, which is why I was constantly trying to run from myself, which is why I was drowning myself, which is why I was not taking care of my body, my mind, or my soul. And so, although my great awakening, the great shift occurred July 16 or July 4th of 2016, in truth, the DUI that commenced it all was actually in 2015. I received a DUI in 2015, and one of the wildest things about my story, and you'll start to see as we move through it, is that there's many birth dates and symbolic dates that intersect with big moments within my life. And so this might be something that occurs for you also. So I invite for you to be curious about this. But for myself, I got pulled over for a DUI, and I actually accepted my charges on November 17th of 2015. And November 17th is an important date because it is actually my sister's birthday. And so there's a lot of karmic energy woven into November 17th. And the reason I'm bringing that up, and the interesting part, and it will come in later down the way in other people that come into my world, but the original November 17th marker of me taking my DUI and accepting the DUI charge on that day was a big one, because I was in a relationship at the time, and the partner had said, we can just pay off the DUI. We'll just fight it. They didn't have reasonable cause to pull you over, and you'll end up without it on your driver's license. We'll fight that. And there was something inside of me through, I don't even know how I heard it, because I wasn't hearing much clearly. I was ignoring a lot within myself. I was drowning out a lot, but there was a point within that said, no, I did the crime and I'm going to do the time. And I didn't accept the opportunity to be bought out, to be paid, to have my freedom paid for me. I chose to stand before the courts and accept my punishment. And that began a progressive change that might not have been obvious immediately, because I was still spiraling for a little while there. I still wasn't able to find my footing, but it was the first time I stood there and I made this choice of like, no, I did the crime and I'm going to do the time. And I continued to drink greatly from that point on, because, well, heck, why not? You can't drive anyways. That was my logic of it all. But it would have come, and I had the awarenesses beginning to come in that I really needed to quit, drinking, and I really needed to quit drugs, and I really needed to make these altered states. I needed to change things in my life. But why? Why would I change it? It was so much easier just to keep doing it, because everybody that I knew was that way. Everybody knew me to be a partier. Everybody knew me to be, the crazy one. My partner was fully supportive because he was just as crazy as I was. Like, we were all lost. We were all a mess. And so it was easy to perpetuate the cycle because, everybody was doing it, and it was just easy to keep going. But this voice kept getting louder. This knowingness kept getting louder that I needed to change something. Like I knew there was coming from my body saying, you need to change this pattern. You need to quit drinking. You need to stop doing these drugs. Like I was drinking by myself. I was doing drugs by myself. Like I was all alone in my own little world, and I liked it that way because I just could stay in my own little world. But I knew deep down that I had to change this. I knew that it was so bad for me. And when I didn't listen, it would have been April, I believe it was 8th, I ended up injuring my back. And I ended up injuring my back so badly that I actually ended up needing to have spinal surgery. At first, the injury wasn't too bad, but it became progressively worse because I didn't stop. Initially, I kept on trying to push through. I kept on trying to be strong because that was my style. That was the way I would do things. I would just keep pushing. Well, the injury ended up becoming so much worse, and it ended up leading to the point where I was having to have spinal surgery, and I was needing back rehabilitation. So before I even went into the spinal surgery, I wanted to try and fix my back myself. And so I went to the CBI and I did the Back Institute and I did their programming, and I was having these amazing results because I was determined to heal my back. I was determined to fix it. But in these same breaths, I also knew that I needed to stop drinking so much because suddenly I had all of these pills available to me, like more pills than I knew what to do with. I can't believe how the doctor system actually works. I could go in there, I could get anything that I wanted. Like, no wonder we have issues within the world, within our society, of people being hooked on painkillers and all of these different pharmaceuticals, because I was given anything that I wanted, I felt like. And it didn't even faze them to really look at the amount of pills that I was on each and every day. And don't get me wrong, I was needing them to survive because at that point in time the back was pretty bad. But I was mixing the alcohol, I was mixing the drugs, I was mixing the painkillers, and I was trying to heal my body. And something deep inside me, I knew that it wasn't going to be okay. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do that. But I kept on pushing forth and being crazy and just being Alicia. That's what I did. Making a complete idiot of myself, because not only was I drinking, but I was on all these pharmaceutical drugs, and I was still dabbling in street drugs, and like, oh my gosh, like I was an absolute mess. And it would have come down to July 4th when I finally had the quantum shift and the quantum awakening. But before that occurred, before that moment clicked in my brain of like, I can't keep doing this and something has to change, and it did, I literally took myself to the depths of like pathetic run of the bottom of the barrel, it felt like. Like every ass moment I could make myself have, I was ensuring that I utilized that experience. My 30th birthday, I showed up. I didn't know that I had a surprise party. I had a surprise party. I showed up not even sleeping from the night before, trying to figure out how to be a normal person in front of everybody. Like the lead up to where everything changed was an absolute chaos. My life was a storm. It was unhealthy beyond all belief, and I knew it. I knew it, but yet I was still doing it. I was still living it. I was still embodying it. I was still perpetuating the cycles. I wasn't able to break it. It's like there was something within me that still wasn't ready to have it crack. And it would have actually ended up cracking and occurring and having the realization in the middle of the DUI course. And I remember them talking about how how many drinks we can have for a man and a woman every week in order to be healthy and, in order to keep it from harming us. And I remember listening to these people and thinking, why are you teaching people who obviously have a problem how to be more responsible and that there's a way to do this in a healthier fashion? Obviously, none of us need that information. We all probably need to get sober, at least for a bit, because we're in a DUI course for a reason. And here you are teaching us and telling us and giving us these false ideas of like ways to be able to perpetuate the problem in a healthier fashion. And that experience, that moment, it clicked something inside of me. And I was never the same. I was never the same from that point. And people called me out and they said, oh, just Alicia, just hang out, just be normal, just go back to the old ways. Because everybody believed that I was going to go back. Everybody believed that I was going to go back to the party Alicia. And you know what? A part of me wondered if I would too. But there was another part of me that was like, oh, I'm sorry. You don't think I can do this? Challenge fucking accepted then. And I'm going to show you how badass I'm going to be at being sober and at changing my life. And that was actually a huge driving force. The more people who didn't believe in me, the more I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this then. I don't even care. And it broke my heart on a lot of different levels because I felt so alone in much of the journey because I lost a lot of the friendships. I lost, my partnership. I lost a lot of these deep connections that I had had for years and years and years, as if overnight, because I wasn't the same. And they're right, I wasn't. I was completely different, and I brought a different energy to the party when suddenly the party girl is dead sober and you feel like you're being judged because she's dead sober and you're not anymore. I can understand where those relationships needed to fall apart, but I'll still acknowledge and really recognize how painful it was to navigate within me, knowing that, not only had I just let go of everything that gave me a false sense of safety and a false sense of confidence, but I had lost all of the people that I thought were so important to me and that were vital pieces to my lifeline. But little did I know, I had a whole world to meet within myself. I had a whole new world to begin exploring, and that's going to be for future. We're going to continue these on. I apologize if it got a little all over the place. This is the first night of me recording, and it's going to take me a little, it might not. It might take me a little bit though to get my proper swing and my proper poise and my proper ability to articulate and communicate with clarity. And so if you're here with me still, thank you. And feel free to drop a like or a comment. Let me know that I'm not just talking to air. Let me know how it's being received, whatever, or not. It's totally your call as well. But yeah, I'm going to pause this one here and thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Thank you for holding this space as I light this shit up and I finally step into my truth. I finally step into my story, my journey, and I stop trying to play so small out of fear of how I will be received, because you know what? Fuck it. Anybody who doesn't want to receive, that's okay. I love you. But anyone, this is a human's journey. This is the human journey of what it is to become superhuman through honoring the deep humanness that we hold, the shadows that we hold, the shame, the guilt, the fear, the resentment, the hurt, but also the joy and the pleasure and the unpredictable and the expansive and the bliss and just all of it. This is going to be woven, a story woven in the human experience. of evolution, of becoming her. This is my story of how I became and how I continue to become each and every day.